back to Doing Real Estate Right. Today, I'm going to be answering one of the questions I get so much, literally almost every single day from property owners or potential property owners that like to manage their own property. And it's, Azure, how do I qualify a tenant or how do I find a qualified tenant? And so today I'm going to be answering the question of how do I qualify a tenant. In another video, I'll address how do you find a qualified tenant. But today someone has come to you, say, hey, I like the property. The first thing you want to do is make sure that you're asking pre-screening questions. And so some of those pre-screening questions consist of scheduling a viewing. So what is their time? What's their availability? Another question would be a desired move-in date. What their employment status is. Are they employed? Are they unemployed? Are they employed full-time? Are they employed part-time? What might be their reason for moving from where they currently are to where they want to be now, and whether they have pets or not. That's going to let you know whether you will be able to charge a pet deposit or pet rent if you so choose, or if it's an assistant or emotional animal, and those charges would be waived because according to whatever state you live in or the ordinances, you are not allowed to charge for emotional support or assistant animals. So that'll help you filter out any unsuitable candidates pretty early. The second thing is that you want to make sure that you have a good system that you're operating out of, because this system has to complete five major components of a rental application, and that is verifying their employment history, their income history, their personal information such as credit check, background check, and you also want to make sure that you are making sure that you're checking their rental history as well. So let's go ahead and address the rental application. For the rental application, it needs to consist of certain information that you're asking for, such as their personal information, their name, their email address, their social security number, their current address, and their telephone number. It'll also want to collect their employment history, their income details, their rental history, and of course, some references. You'll want to call those. So just want to kind of prepare you for what we're about to talk about. When you think about your system, you want to make sure that at least 80% of the things that we just discussed are covered in the system that you have chosen to take on. So some systems, such as Zillow Rental Manager, Door Loop, AppFolio, let's see if I can think of another one, Rent Ready. Some of those systems are pretty much going to do everything that I listed. They may or may not include that, but if it does at least 80% of what we're talking about, you're on your way, you're there. Okay. So getting into the application, so they've turned in their information. The next thing you want to check is the credit check, which if you're using a good system, it'll provide you with the credit information. Now, depending on where you are, the credit report may or may not be available to you, or they might just give you a synopsis of if they recommend them or if they don't recommend them. So if they allow you to look at the report, you want to make sure that you're assessing the applicant's financial responsibility. So that includes looking for consistent payment history, outstanding debts, or overall credit score. So a strong credit score can indicate reliability, but I would like to advocate for those that may have a lower credit score. Sometimes that may not have been in their control. They might have had a life incident that happened, such as a major medical incident that happened or something that happened years ago that just hasn't come off of their credit. I would implore you to really look into what their credit structure is instead of just concentrating on the score. Another thing is your background check. You want to ensure that you are completing a national background check. So the systems that you go through before you sign up for them, make sure they're doing a national and not just state. Okay, this ensures the safety of the property and other tenants around as well. Okay. The next thing you will need to do is make sure that you're verifying their income and their employment. That means getting on the phone and calling them or sending an email to the email provided or contacting the human resources system that they may go through to complete this verification with their employment. You want to ask for recent pay stubs, tax returns, or employment verification letters to confirm that the applicant has stable income. A general rule of thumb is that the tenant's monthly income can be at least 3 times the rent. The reason why we kind of use that structure is so we use the 30-30-30 model, which pretty much means 30% of their income is going towards their rent, utilities, and then they have enough left over. So if they get into a little bit of a bind, they're still able to pay their rent. The next thing is ensuring your rental history is up to date and making sure you're inquiring about past landlords and present landlords. Okay. You want to call them, you want to talk to them. If they provide the email address for them, you want to email them. You want to actually speak to a person because you're going to ask questions such as, are they paying their rent on time? How has the tenant treated the property? Have they taken care of it over time, or have they let it uh, depreciate over time? And whether they're a good neighbor or not. These things are really going to be really, really important just because you just want to make sure that the person that you put into your home is actually taking care of it for the long run and the longevity. Because the point is that you don't want to rent for a short time, you want to rent for a long time, and you taking care of your tenant and your tenant taking care of your home just goes for a really great relationship for them being there. Last but not least, you want to make sure that you're checking those personal references that they provided. This is going to be a little less objective, but they can still provide an insight on the tenant's behavior. Okay. The next thing that you would need to do after you verify the information, you want to make sure that you're doing an interview with the tenant yourself. You want to make sure that you're having a face-to-face or a virtual meeting to kind of get a sense of the tenant's personality, their lifestyle, how they communicate. This information can help you gauge if they'll be a good fit for you and your property. Okay. You want to make sure that you are listening to yourself when you are choosing someone to be in your property. If it doesn't feel right, they might not be a good fit for you. Okay. Make sure during this conversation that you're setting clear expectations. You want to clearly outline the lease terms, the house rules, and any expectations that you have for the tenants during the screening process. So this helps ensure the tenant is fully aware of what's expected and they can commit to that. One thing that you don't want to do is make this clear after they've signed a lease, and then you have all of these other stipulations that you're putting on them, and they're like, well, no, I understood it this way. You want to make sure that everything is as clear as possible from the beginning. Okay, so if you put all of these components together, you should be able to get yourself a clear and qualified tenant that's a good fit for you and a good fit for your property. If you have any questions for me, my information is down in the description below. You're always welcome to reach out to me. Until next time. I'm so excited that you decided to join me again today. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button so that you never miss an update. And if you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up, share it with others that might find it useful, and hit that notification bell so you always know when some new content drops. Reach out for me for any questions that you have.